All right, let's just jump right in. If you've ever worked in a big company, you've seen it. The application landscape, it's just this huge, tangled mess, right? We're talking hundreds, maybe thousands of apps, and it feels like no one really has the full picture. It's just complexity. But what if there was a way to fix that? A real blueprint to get from all that chaos to some actual clarity. Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. And look, this isn't just some IT headache. It's a massive strategic problem. A messy portfolio like this has very real, very painful consequences. Costs start creeping up because you've got redundant systems everywhere. Your security risk goes through the roof with all that outdated tech. Innovation gets completely stuck because your IT is just too complicated to change. And maybe worst of all, you end up with this huge gap between your technology and where the business is trying to go. Without a clear strategy, your tech stops being an asset and starts becoming a liability.
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you actually fix this? How do you untangle that massive web and start making smart, strategic decisions about your technology?
Well, the good news is you don't have to start from scratch. There's a proven, industry-standard framework designed for this exact problem, the Gartner TIME model.
So what is this thing? At its heart, the TIME framework is just a really smart, structured way to evaluate every single application you have. The whole point is to squeeze the most business value out of your technology by giving you a clear, logical system for making decisions.
Now here's what's so brilliant about it. It boils everything down to two critical questions. First, there's technical fit. Basically, how good is the tech itself? Is it stable, easy to maintain, does it play well with others? And second, you've got functional fit. How well does the app actually help the business do its job? Is it truly aligned with what you need?
And when you take those two dimensions and plot them on a simple 2x2 grid, you get this, the time matrix. And this is your blueprint for action. See those 4 boxes? Tolerate, invest, migrate, and eliminate. Each one tells you exactly what to do with the apps that land inside it. So let's really dig into this. We're going to break down what each of these 4 quadrants actually means and the strategy you should follow for each one.
First up, let's talk about the top right. This is the invest quadrant, and these applications are the absolute strategic core of your portfolio.
Think of these as your star players. They've got a high technical fit, so they're well-built, they're stable, and they have a high functional fit, meaning your business can't live without them. Now, the strategy here isn't to just leave them be. No, you want to invest in them, enhance them, make them more efficient, and squeeze even more value out of them for the business.
Okay, next up is the tolerate quadrant. These are the apps that are, well, they're fine, just fine.
These apps are solid from a technical standpoint, so they aren't causing any major problems. But their functional fit, it's pretty low. They don't really move the needle on key business goals. So what's the plan? You tolerate them. The key here is that the cost and the sheer effort to replace them is way more than any benefit you'd get. So you just maintain them as is, keep the lights on, and wait for a better reason to make a change down the road.
Now things start to get really interesting when we look at the migrate quadrant. This is where you find amazing business value that's just trapped inside old, clunky technology.
You know the type. That essential custom-built system that everybody depends on, but it's super fragile, a nightmare to maintain, and is probably running on servers from a decade ago. It has a high functional fit, it's crucial, but a really low technical fit. These are perfect candidates to be migrated. That means rebuilding them or replacing them with modern, efficient alternatives, maybe something in the cloud. The goal is to keep all that great functionality, but give it a much, much better home.
And finally, the quadrant that makes every IT manager breathe a sigh of relief. Eliminate. This is all about cutting the dead weight.
These apps, they're the worst of both worlds. Low technical fit and low functional fit. They just don't work well, and they're not even doing anything the business really needs anymore. They're just there, eating up your budget, taking up server space, and creating headaches. So the strategy here is super simple. Get rid of them. When you eliminate them, you slash costs, you simplify your whole IT world, and you actually cut down on major security risks.
Okay, so the theory sounds great, right? But how do you actually use this thing in the real world? It's not just about drawing a few boxes. There's a real process to it.
And this lays out that path perfectly. It all starts with step 1, you've got to build a complete inventory of every application you have. Then you assess each one on its technical and functional fit, which lets you categorize them into those time quadrants. From there, you can plan a specific roadmap for each category. And then you just execute, monitor, and this part is absolutely critical. You have to review and update it constantly. And to make that categorizing step a little easier, check out this decision tree. It's a fantastic tool for asking the right questions. You see how it starts with the technical standards? If an app passes all the tech checks but isn't really aligned with the business, boom, it's probably a tolerate. If it passes everything, well, you might have an invest candidate on your hands. It just gives you a logical path to follow. Now here's the thing. The payoff for doing all this work is so much bigger than just having a cleaner app list. The insights you get from this become an incredibly powerful strategic tool for your entire organization.
And the ripple effect is just huge. The time model really becomes this central point for making all kinds of decisions. It tells you where to place your bets for your IT strategy. It makes budget planning way more concrete. You know exactly which apps get money and which ones don't. It gives you a clear roadmap for moving to the cloud. And oh my gosh, during a merger, it's an absolute lifesaver when you're trying to figure out how to combine two completely different tech stacks. It really is a multi-tool for strategy.
And this might be the single most important thing to remember. Doing this isn't a one-and-done project. It has to be a continuous process. Think about it. Your business needs are always changing, technology is always evolving, so your portfolio has to adapt right along with it. Doing those regular reviews is the only way to keep everything aligned and valuable.
So at the end of the day, this is the journey. You're going from that chaotic, expensive, and frankly misaligned pile of technology on the left to the streamlined, efficient portfolio on the right that's actively making the business better, reducing risk, and helping you move faster. You literally transform a tactical liability into a genuine strategic asset. Which really just leaves us with one last question for you to think about. After seeing all this, take a really hard, honest look at your own organization's technology and ask yourself, right now, is it a strategic asset or is it a hidden liability?